I don't hire A players for my competition because they all suck. You know the move where you poach a rockstar employee and then you pay them big money, but 6 months later you're wondering if they lied in the interview. In this video, I'll show you why that keeps happening and what you need to do if you actually want to build a team of high achievers. Because A players aren't found. They're built for a very specific environment. I'm Quentin, I run 20 Hour Founder. We help 6- and 7-figure founders build businesses they can run in 20 hours per week, and I've helped more than 100 clients hire more than 500 people. And here's the approach that actually builds A-player teams. Long story short, it's not them, it's your business. An A player performs like an A player usually because they had a great manager or mentor who gave them advice that helped them perform. They were paired with a great team with exceptional synergy, or they had great systems, good tools, great leads, whatever, or a brand that did the heavy lifting for them. And if you take one of those things away, they won't perform the same way. And since you didn't buy the environment, but you only bought the person, it backfired. If I start selling software tomorrow and Bill Gates tells the world that I'm the next big superstar or the next guy to watch in the industry, well, will that make me a sales superstar? No, but I will sell exceptionally well because of that endorsement. So I'm not an A player, I'm just a regular Joe with an endorsement from Bill Gates. And it's the same thing when you try to hire people from other companies. You never know why they did well. Now, most founders don't have a talent problem. They have a training problem. And if you put anyone into an inadequate system, you will turn every A player into a C player right away. I've tried for 3 years to steal top talent from my competition, and this is what I learned. It didn't work out because their clients didn't follow them. So if you hire salespeople and you expect them to bring clients, know that clients are very often loyal to the brand, to the company, but not to the salesperson. The other thing is that the energy in my team wasn't the same energy as in their previous team, so they felt less good in it, and because of that, they weren't as motivated to work the way they used to work. And the last thing is that some of them just thought they were hot shit, and because of that they started coasting a little, and then their performance went down because they used to get so much praise and they thought that working at my company would be just a walk in the park. Because of that, it failed. So these are just my 2 cents on why hiring A players from the competition fails. But that being said, if stealing unicorns doesn't work, yeah, well then how the hell are you going to get those A players on board? Well, all it takes is a simple mindset shift. Instead of thinking that you want to buy a plug-and-play or finished product, you need to start recruiting the raw material and then actually shape them into the thing or the person you want them to become. What you're looking for is people with A-player potential, but still a lot of room to grow, and with enough training, experience, and then tender love and care, you will turn them into great people. And when it comes to hiring those people, I always look out for 3 things. The first thing I look for is attitude and ownership. When I interview somebody and they take responsibility for their wins or their losses at their previous job, and they start their sentences with "I did" instead of "we did," that's a great sign, because that means they're owners. When they say, yeah, but we did it, I need to dig deeper to understand what their actual contribution was to the success, because I want to hire the person who drove the result and not someone who was there for the ride along. Now, if they blame everyone else, management didn't let me, or the market changed, or the product team messed up, well, run, because that's certainly not an A player, that's just a professional victim, and we don't want those. The second thing you're going to look for is track record of effort and not the title they have. So ask them about the times they went above scope, when they built something from scratch, when they learned something and implemented it, which helped them get a great result. I mean, I don't care about senior titles or whatever. I want people to show me where they had to bleed a little to get the result they wanted. Because getting the result is a non-negotiable for them. Well, that's a great fucking sign, because most probably that's somebody who will raise the bar. Which brings us to my favorite interviewing signal. My favorite interviewing signal is when somebody is telling their story during the interview and they're pissed off. You know, they feel held back, they feel underused, they feel untrusted or kept. Well, that's usually an A player trapped in a B or C company. And if you take that person out of the company and you give them the trust, or you give them the training, and you give them the means to do so much more, to become so much more, you'll get fireworks. There is this girl working for me, and I knew she was the real deal when she told me she wouldn't accept a sales job without a bonus system. Because if her job didn't give her the potential of earning more for a job well done, well, then she didn't want it. And that's what you look for. People who are in it to win. Once you found somebody that looks like they're a loaded gun, yeah, well, then what do you actually do with them? Well, when you've got a big gun, you don't point it at some bullshit goals, you point it at a big ass target. So if they say they're hungry, well, good, let them prove it. Give them a clear target. Give them a clear target that's really going to require a lot of effort to reach. So let's say you're onboarding somebody or you found somebody and you're going to tell them, well, okay, normally you would have to do around 100K in revenue in 6 months. I want you to do 150K revenue in 6 months. And then you break it down into monthly targets and weekly KPIs. So that way they know what they have to do every step of the way and they know what's expected of them in advance. Now, keep in mind that you need to give them the means, so give them the tools, the access, the budget, the support, and everything else they need, and then tie their success to the team's success, because if they win, everybody wins. So what I want you to understand here is that if you demand A-player results and you're giving C-player tools, you're the problem. I mean, A-player results requires you to be an A-level founder. That being said, don't hold their hand, but don't let them run wild either. A weekly one-on-one meeting where you review numbers, where you review their work, and you coach them is the best form of feedback and training loop you can possibly have. A players aren't found. They're built in reps and experience, and you will know real soon if they're the real deal or not. If they keep backing up that big mouth with big output, you keep them, you keep betting on them. But if not, you cut them out as fast as you can, because there's nothing more toxic to your company or your company culture than someone who talks big to the team without backing it up. They end up frustrating everybody, and then the whole team output goes down. The great thing with hiring people with A-player potential is that you don't have to start paying them an A-player salary right away. You still give them A-player upside, that's for sure, but you let them climb into it. So you should always tie their pay to some milestone or result. So in our previous example, we talked about instead of doing 100K, going to 150K, well, then you might say them, or you might tell them that when they hit that target, you will increase their salary by 10 or 15%. That usually works great with salespeople. But for customer service, it can be customer satisfaction. For a project manager, it can be meeting deadlines. Whatever the role is, tied to something you can measure. Give them a clear upside, because people will always do more when there is something in it for them. If you've ever stolen someone from a competitor and you pay them a big fat salary and then you watch them underperform, it wasn't a hiring fluke. It was a hiring systems problem. So if you're sick of overpaying rock stars who underperform and you want to build that team of A players yourself, watch this video next. I'm going to give you my 3-part hiring framework that I've used with my own clients to hire their best people. It gives you a clear roadmap of who you need and what you need to do to get them to say yes.